Hello students, welcome back to another edition of e-lecture. This is Ms. Nisha and I'm going to explain to you how you will do your assignment on note-taking. As you know, this assignment is going to be in-class assignment. So I'm going to show you some samples of assignment done by the students in previous years. We are going to analyze those examples so that you will know what are the good things and what are not so good things that you should avoid in your note-taking assignment. So let's get started. Welcome to my computer screen, and I'm going to walk you through this PowerPoint step by step so that you have a clear idea of note-taking assignment. So when we talk about note-taking, you can take note in different ways. There are 5 types of patterns that we have discussed in class with you. We are going to select the Cornell note-taking for our assignment. Now, if you take a look at these samples here, what do you notice in them? Yes, the one on my left hand, of course, looks very crowded. So there is too much content on that, and you may say there is use of color, it looks very neat, but there is too much material on that. So when you take notes, avoid writing too much on each page. Take a look at the sample on my right. It looks neat, there is space, there is a place to write questions, and there is a place to write the main points. But if you see, it does not follow all the rules of Cornell layout, because on the top, if you notice here on the top, there is nothing. And this is where you should write your topic, maybe your instructor's name, date, and the source name also should come over here, so that when you refer back to these notes, you have a good idea of which day and which course and which instructor had given you these notes. Alright, now we have an example of the Cornell layout. So what is the Cornell layout and how does it look like? You can see over here a Cornell layout, and you see the labels. This is where you write your name, class. At the top, you can write down your instructor's name. You can write down the source from where you have taken the notes. And you can write down the classroom. You can write down the time. As much as possible, the information you can write down. Of course, don't crowd it. Don't make it too much, too close to each other. Everything should be clear and readable. So this is where you write the reference information for your notes. Coming to the middle white section, the note-taking area, as you can see here, you write your main lecture notes over here. So you write them in short sentences, parts of sentences. You can write them in the list forms. You can use abbreviations. We have given you the papers, the handouts on abbreviations, which means the short forms of words. You can use those. And leave spaces, skip lines. Don't write in every line. Skip spaces, lines, and also you can leave some space from the margin and write in the indented form. On the left is a Q column. Q column means you can write down some of the main ideas, or you can write down your questions there. You can write down the key information. You can write down the headings of your, topics you can write down there. At the base is the place for summaries, and here you sum up whatever the information you have taken down in your notes. But notice that summary you write in complete sentences. You can write 2 or 3 sentences. That should be enough for one page or one set of notes that you have on each page. So 2 to 3 sentences should be enough in this part. And usually this section is done at home. When you revisit your notes, you read your main note-taking, from here you read the questions or subtopics or keywords or vocabulary. Then you summarize here what exactly you have done on this page regarding the topic that you have been writing about. So once again, taking another look at the corner layout, you can see here on top there's a place for name, date, class, period. You can write the resource because you are college students. You should write the source also. You can write your instructor's name as well, and if you want to write the time of the class, you can do that as well. Plus you see the famous 3 sections, the main section for your main information which comes over here. You can read. You can have other kinds of information depending on what subject you're taking notes on. Diagrams also you can draw here, pictures. You can use symbols here to take your notes down. On the left, you have main idea, you have questions, and of course you can write down here questions which you can also ask your teacher later if you want, So, or the key information or the subtopics. At the base, you have the place for your summary. Now let's take a look at some samples of note-taking. This is one of the passage which has been given to the student in the past, and the topic here is global warming. And if you read the passage, I suggest take some time, stop the video, and you can read the passage and think the kind of information that you will read in this passage. So if you read this passage, you will find that this passage consists of 2 kinds of information. It consists of, the topic of course is global warming. It consists of reasons for global warming, and it consists of possible solutions to control or stop or, to hold back this devastating effect of global warming. In the first paragraph here, the second paragraph actually, it gives you the reasons for global warming, and one of the reasons is the emissions of CO2, and the second reason is deforestation. So this paragraph explains to you the first reason, which is how do we get the emissions of CO2. So it gives you, the reasons over here. And then it also gives you here how to or the second reason that explains the second reason, that is the deforestation. It gives you some details about both the reasons. You go on to the third paragraph, which is here, and here it gives you the solutions, and I have highlighted different solutions given in this passage. For example, reducing fossil fuels, using plant-derived plastics, biodiesel, wind power and solar power, then limiting. The government should limit CO2 emissions, making lifestyle changes such as using energy-efficient bulbs, turning off electricity when not in use, and planting trees in the garden. So as you see, the information is not too much. It's a small passage, about 320 words as it says here, and it has a very small amount of information that you're supposed to read and take notes on. The purpose is to just train you and give you practice in taking notes, so that when you read a chapter of 20-30 pages, you can take notes on that as well very easily later on. Now I'm going to show you 3 samples of students' notes on the same passage. This is the first passage here, the first sample here. As you can see, this student has given on top, the date, the topic, the course code and course title, instructor's name, and the source also is given over here. Then the main notes area is here, given the title here, given the reasons, and given the possible solutions also at the base. On the left, you will see there are some questions which the student has constructed. What is the biggest threat to Earth? What are the reasons? What is the effect? And how to solve the problem. What this student has given at the base is the summary. Now, you can see there are missing items in this note-taking, and if you observe carefully, you will notice that out of two solutions, government, which are imposed by the government and which can be practiced by the individuals, this student has given only, this student has given both, but there is something that the student has not given, is that the government can also enforce limitations on CO2. This is the second, suggestion for solution of the problem from the side of the government, apart from reducing fossil fuels and dependence on natural energy sources. So that point is missing. Rest everything is more or less complete. At the base, if you see, this student has given the summary, and in the summary the student has only mentioned that there are reasons, these are the reasons of global warming that become a big problem we should solve. So now this is not a complete summary. Ideally, the student should have given 2 sentences that the passage gives us reasons for global warming, and then maybe, given the reasons right after that, and also said that the passage also gives us the solutions, such as this. So these can be the 2 sentences in which a good summary can be written for this passage. And as you can see, it is incomplete, and the student says these are reasons, but the reasons are not given over here. So, and my arrow over here is pointing that the solutions have not been given in the summary. So where are the solutions? That's why there's a question mark. Okay, let's look at the next sample. The next sample has the questions on the side, as you can see, but there is missing information. So the student needs to add more information. The student has missed out the fossil fuel point over here. At the top, there is, probably the most worrying threat. It is not probably, it is the most threatening, cause of global warming, which are given here. So you have to use the accurate and correct terms. The name of the instructor can be there. The source is missing. That's why you see the source and a question mark over here. Coming down to summary, the student has given the summary, but the summary is copied from the text. That is not what you have to do, because you should be giving the summary in your own words. The last sample here, the third and last, the student has almost everything, which is fine. In the top section, the source, title, course name, instructor name, date, everything is fine. There are subtopics given on the side, reasons, and then the reasons are given here. These reasons could be, of course, in the main note-taking section. Only the 2 points on reasons and how can we solve can be only in this column. Then it makes a good note-taking. And then the student says the most worrying threat to our planet at present is global warming. How? It doesn't say. It just shifts, the student just shifts the answer here, CO2 and deforestation. There's no connection between the reason and the actual reasons. The predominant factors in the warming of the earth. What are the predominant factors? These are the factors, but the connection is not shown between them. So this part has to come here. These are solutions which are more or less okay, and the summary is fine, but it's not in a very clear pen. So make sure that you use a clear pen, you use a good handwriting, and you make sure that all your points are well covered. Just to give you another example, this is how a good note-taking look like. You can infuse your Cornell note-taking with the outline format also, like this student has done using the indent. And this is another format for you. It looks crowded, but it has some kind of an organization. And this is the rubric. Don't forget to pay attention to the rubric, especially the first column, which gives you the scores for the highest grade. And that's it.